this meeting to order. It is 10 a.m.
Commissioner Kane.
Here.
Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Mr. Bucket.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Hi, neighbor. Okay, as you wish, please stand for the pledge and the invocation. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Come on in and have a seat.
Focus.
Before we do that, yes, sir, go ahead.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet today in this free country, and we celebrate the birth of our country next week, and we ask that you put in our hearts and our minds all the people before us that have given up their life and sacrifice to make this country free. We ask grace and mercy on us, and we ask wisdom and guidance for the people making decisions today. All these things we ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you. My mind drifted a little bit there. We have a change in the agenda. And we wish to add to the agenda burn ban ordinance. And that'll be at the end of the meeting. I have it set for that. So a motion?
Can you bring
Make a motion we amend the agenda to add the burn ban ordinance.
Yeah, they're both talking about adding
Okay, all in favor, aye?
job
Aye.
description.
Okay, as I say, that'll be at the end of our regular meeting. The consent agenda
About
is
black.
as here it is,
Crime.
and it's
I
been
don't think
posted
that's
along
on
with
there,
our,
but you can bring it up at
on
the
our
public
They thrown it in
website.
our
So
record.
motion to approve.
public
We are.
comments, you can.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Can I point out one thing there? We had mistakenly put, now these are just proposals on the engineering services. And when that notice went out, it said the date, it didn't have a time. And one of the engineering, their stated rates and stuff that we did is, we only reported 2 opens last week. One came in later in the day. It wasn't on a specific project, it was just on their rates, and it's somebody that we use, so that's in this. That we
And those were reported, they were due at 4 o'clock that
Yes.
evening.
Well, just
Well,
do that
by
day.
that day.
By end of business that day.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so, did I get a motion second?
Yes, you did.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Now, this is an announcement. Okay, come on.
We, in the J. Graff Recorder of Deeds, in our office, started a process of getting grants to finish up some marriage records in our office to be digitized. And this process started back in November 2022, and it will not end, this total process, till it's all digitized in 2024, May. So it's a long process that we've gone through before, but they've awarded us a no match $15,000 grant to proceed with about 27 books in our office. And we're real happy to announce that.
Okay, does this go back to a certain time frame or what?
It's just picking up items that we, is there a specific, Kim, was there?
1820, the index books of the marriage records, and we're starting at 1822.
1822, so.
So back about the time the state started.
Yeah, well, what happens is, all the new, information that comes in for weddings is immediately digitized. So what we're doing is going back in our records and getting caught up to the present. So that's part of that, situation. And the grant comes from our Secretary of State Department. John Corsick is our representative there that takes care of that for us.
Okay, so this not only preserves those records, but it makes them easier to search.
Very much so, yeah.
You said you had 27 books.
Well, that's for this particular one. We might have another 1 or 2 grants that are coming out that for the next year or 2 after this one. And we'll be asking for more grants in the future. But this one kickstarts the vital records in our office.
Okay, now I think you're on the next item at this point.
At this point, since we've been awarded this, the next step is to bid it out to whoever wants to bid on it. And that's a 3-week process, that we put it out.
The bid process.
Get the bid process, get it in here, see who has bid, and go from there.
How many suppliers potentially are there?
Generally, it's one. We might get an inquiry about information as to what, but it's so specifically oriented. Kind of goes down to one of the same folks we've been kind of using, but it's open up to anybody that can meet those specifications if they want to try.
Okay, motion?
I make a motion, we request to bid the scanning project for the Recorder of Deeds office. Second.
Okay, any questions? Rich?
Jay, have you any idea of the total amount of funding that's gonna be necessary to finish this job?
Yeah, we got another year or two, so this one's 15,000. We might go next year for another 15 and possibly a third one to finish up.
So you're talking in total somewhere just under $50,000?
Right. Now, you, go ahead, you're gonna have another question?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
One thing I would point out is why didn't you include this in our deeds process where we had a $315,000, and that was ARPA funds, federal funds? By the Recorder of Deeds not asking for those funds to do it at that time, we have money available through the state to do these final records. Whereas if by not applying for those extra $50,000, that ARPA money can be used somewhere else, federal money in the county. So hindsight, it was good not to do that because again, it freed up more money for the county to use federal money, and we were going to use the state money to finish up.
Okay, we made a lot of gains with those.
I think that's a good way of looking at it too.
Any other questions?
The information will be stored where?
In our server downstairs, which is another issue we're going to be bringing up in the future.
So there is more cost involved.
It's
On
more-
our server, not necessarily.
It's just
so.
more of it's time for a new server. Bottom line, our server's old, so.
You mean
that-
filled or old? What do you?
Old.
Old.
It's outdated. We had it since 2017 or 18.
And what's the cost of a new server?
It can vary. I mean, it depends
With
on.
licensing for
Yeah,
all the.
you're looking quite a bit. I mean, it just depends on size and everything.
And we just had a huge dump of information put in, the $315,000 grant of data.
But
So-
moving that from the old server to a new server, how complicated is that, Nick?
I mean, it's just time consuming. It's not really complicated though. It's just copying it over from one to the other. So it won't be bad.
So I'm gonna ask a question. Server goes down, but we still have a cloud?
That was my initial question, but
Yeah.
So-
Do we-
We can get into that. I can talk to that a little bit more about.
I mean, I hate to
Bash.
bring that worst case
Yeah.
scenario up, but
Right now, I don't. Are you guys backing up anywhere? I don't think that you guys are backing up the cloud, are you?
Not like that, but this is the issue that we can get into if you want to, as far as the Bastion through Fiddler.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that one? Did I get to you with that? I
No.
think I was talking to somebody else about that, but that's offered through Fiddler, and it's a service that they offer, and we can not necessarily buy a server and get it started up with Fiddler in the next little bit, which I will try to do. If we were going to do it, I would do it for the next budget year because it is a cost.
Are you talking
There's
about
initial startup of
a
around.
virtual server?
I'm sorry.
Is it a virtual server? Is it a virtual server, or is it a hosted product? or-
That's your
Hosted.
part.
Hosted, okay.
It's a lockbox out in Iowa, middle of Iowa. They spend millions and millions of dollars to put this thing together, and it's protected. They pay other companies to try to break into their computer system. A lot of money, they said, to pay them to try to break into so they can find out if there's anything that they need to bolster up there, and then they have a backup to a backup to a backup there, and it is in the cloud. And again, it's a cost, but it's one that I think they don't guarantee, like 100%. Some people could say, they say, but they shouldn't be saying, we will never be broken into. But, you shouldn't be saying that.
Never say
But
never.
they will say, almost, but just write that little bit that they more likely are not going to be broken into, ransomware or anything like that.
Fiddler's a software program we use. what he says fit.
That runs all our office, all our stuff.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you so much, thank you, Jerry. Okay, purchase of 4 new police cars. Gary, you took care of this.
Do we have
Bucks one, Bucks went out and,
Which one?
the bid, request the bid?
that's our new cars, right?
The,
Hold on a second, I'm sorry.
I made a motion to bid it and then,
And we made a motion.
We've already
to
bid them.
No, I'm talking about bidding
No.
what Jay just,
yeah, he seconded it and we all in favor and just
and you've
voted.
already taken the vote on, to, get the bid, okay.
Are you awake now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, the
I had to
discussion,
do that.
Yes, yeah.
discussion must have followed after the vote then.
Okay.
You did get that right?
Yes, you got it?
Yes,
All
we
right,
got it. We're
okay.
up. We're up.
So that's officially approved now, we'll get the bids on that. Okay, now, next item is the purchase of 4 new police cars. And Buck and Gary have been working on this. They're hard to find.
Yeah, well, we bid them out in, back in May, nobody bid on them. So, I got word that Pettis could get us Durangos, so I went out there, was inquiring about them, and they said, well, we can get you Fords too. I said, well, can you give me a price? Anyway, they give me a price on them.
Good short order, I think.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
quick.
very quick, and, the difference between the Durangos and the Explorers is about $1,000.
Plus or minus.
The Explorers are $1,000 higher than the Durangos, but they're equipped better than the Durangos.
So
The
it's
Explorers,
money well
so
spent.
money-wise, we're
Okay.
ahead to go with the Explorers.
Well, then, you're
Plus,
set
that's
up.
what our, fleet is, 95% of it is Explorers, so.
But with all the different age brackets or age range of these cars, can you buy a case of filters?
Oh, yeah,
You can do that?
yeah,
Okay, so
tires, filters.
they're interchangeable. Large
Oils,
ones,
But they're, 50,
54,235 so each. on
they're
that.
about $10,000 higher than what we paid last year. 9,200.
Okay, the one piece of information I don't have and we don't have is delivery date. We just don't know when that'll be.
Don't know when it'll be, whenever we get them, the order put in, we know more about it.
Okay, so they can hopefully project an order date or delivery date when they get the order.
Right,
So what we're doing now is approving the placement of that order.
that's right.
Motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 4 new police interceptor Fords for the sheriff's department at $54,235, and then the green bottom there, budgeted funds will be transferred from the general fund for 3. The 4th will be paid for from civil fees.
And what else I wanna add on there, it's got a basic police package, like the light bars.
Yeah.
You know.
They're ready to go.
They're ready to go, but they won't have cages in them.
Yeah.
We have docking stations or police radios, but we have to put that in there.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Question? Yeah, Louis.
So Buck, based on the information you gave us, are we talking about this confirmed price, now guaranteed price upon delivery?
Yep.
There will not be an increase
That's what they
after
told
the
me.
fact?
That's exactly what they told me. That is the price.
Rich?
Couple questions. Buck, are these replacing existing equipment?
No?
These
Well, yeah, it is. We've, totaled 2 out and, took 2 out service, so.
Are we done with the Crown Victoria?
No, we got some Crowns still in service. Well, we ain't got any in the pursuit end of it. We do transport. But,
There's still some of them circulating around.
yeah,
As-
we got 8 of them yet.
As a follow-on, budget funds will be transferred from the general fund for 3. So that means to me that this hasn't been budgeted, and it's coming out of the general fund.
Dan, you wanna talk about that?
This is true what, Rich said, and is what we'll have to do whenever it comes time is amend our budget. And that transfer is if the money's not there, and we don't know delivery date, we don't know when we have to pay for them. Right now, the money is not there for that.
Now, because of uncertain ability to buy, the money was used for other purposes, correct?
We had some money, we didn't have this much money, we had no idea it was gonna be this high. But, yes, we have used about half of our money for replacement equipment already.
Do we have any money in the Prop P funds that has not been allocated?
That was my question.
Sure, it can be.
I stole your question, I'm sorry.
But it could be transferred at a later date, correct?
And the Prop P money was set for, personnel and equipment.
And there may be money there when it
Yeah.
comes time.
Yeah.
I just don't think it is right now.
Okay. Rich?
All right, the fourth one will be paid from civil fee. Does that mean he's gonna be stopping me more every time I go down this road?
Dan, that's up to you.
Yeah.
You got that?
If you're in
What, so what does that mean?
The civil fees is a sheriff's discretionary fund
Okay,
that I can spend on whatever I see
Sure,
fit.
sure.
And so I have quite a bit of money in there right now, so we're gonna buy one car out of that.
thank you.
Now, when we get the 4 cars lined up out there, we're not gonna tell them which car was what with the civil.
No, no, that's
We
okay.
don't want them to feel different, so.
It'd be the one that, over on kind of the east side of Farmington in that area over there, some people live.
Yeah, okay.
Rich,
It'll be the one with the radar gun.
I'll make sure I'm driving your car.
Now that you've made this agreement, there's only a 2-week window, right, that you can order a car for the police interceptor, basically.
Yeah, August.
Is it true that Ford is going to eliminate these for a while?
When they what?
Production after this?
Not that
I was
heard.
reading that the other day, they're talking about.
They're changing the way you buy them.
You have to have a PO
Well, I
to
know.
place an order.
They're
and
actually
there's a
talking
2-week
about.
Opening.
I haven't read it yet, but.
Well, I think what they do, Kevin, they get their orders in, and then they actually shut the line down and
Just
create
make-
the line to produce police interceptors, and
Twice a
then,
year.
yeah, once a year. And they make all the cars that they have orders for, then they change it back over.
You said twice a year.
Yeah, March and August.
Yeah.
Just a second, Amber, you,
Couple questions, were any other dealerships requested for quotes?
every one of us.
Yep.
Put it out
Put
for
it in
bid.
the paper, put it out.
No, I'm saying you went to Pettis, did you approach
We
any
also-
other vendors
yes,
directly?
Yes,
Offenberg.
give me a price.
Offenberg, Cynicism.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll just make documentation of those when you pay those.
Does it matter if you put it out for bid and nobody
Yes,
bids on it?
because statute says you still have to do as much bidding as possible for the circumstance.
I call it shopping, but yeah.
Correct,
We done the job.
when,
Yeah, we didn't talk.
when feasible.
Thank you.
Did you shop for a cop? Is that what you do?
Moving right along, Rich, you had a question?
Just curious.
Did you have some,
I'm sorry?
did you have another question?
I'm good.
Okay, Dan?
I just want to clarify, I think what Kevin was talking about was there's rumors come around almost every couple of years that they're gonna quit production. They did on the Crown Vics for several years, and then finally 2011, they're gone. And they've been doing this same thing with the Explorers, so that could happen anytime.
Buck, how old is our oldest Explorer?
2013, 10 years old.
Okay, any other yeah,
So you had said this is to replace one of the total vehicles, will MOPRM funds be used to pay for part of this? Will we be getting any money from the insurance on it?
well, that's probably already been done, so
Yeah,
it's not an immediate.
Right.
No, but what you're saying this fund's gonna be paid for by insurance proceeds, is that what you're?
Yeah, just a small portion of it, I mean, we've got $9,000 out of their total car.
And that money will go back into our fund, so
Right.
like I say, by the time this happens, we may have the money.
So with that being said,
Sorry.
I would recommend not approving where the cars will be paid from until we know when they'll be here, because it may end up coming out of even 2024 budget.
Just make a motion to authorize, ordering, not where the funds are from.
Because you'll have to do a budget amendment at that time anyway.
months.
They're supposed to be here in September this year, but who knows?
Okay, and do we have the motion, did it include the funding?
Well, not really, it's just funds will be transferred from somewhere or come in from somewhere and could be, it's gonna be paid for somewhere.
A little bit vague, I
So
think.
you're
It is.
you're clarifying,
It's like-
you're just authorizing their ordering.
We're gonna approve to get some vehicles and we're gonna pay for them someday.
So the motion is that we approve the purchase of these items so we can get them on order at that price.
Approve the purchase order, yes.
Okay. All right, so that's the motion, and we have a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Buck.
Are we still, on that property, are we still hiring
Yes.
new officers? About how many are we, because I get that asked, we have started hiring new deputies?
We have started, but by the same token, we're losing.
We're backfilling some.
Yes, so we're backfilling and adding, we've added, I think, 2 right
Net
now.
2?
2 or 3, because they may have somebody may have resigned since I've been standing up there, because it just seems like a revolving door all the time.
Sorry.
Well, to that, we budgeted 700,000 primarily for, if you remember, for personnel and then some for equipment, and we have not come close to that, and we're running a little over 100,000 a month flow from that. So, you know, if we don't have money there, we'll have to check and find out where it went.
Now, the lowest month, you know, after we got started was just over 100,000.
And currently, I think we're running about less than 30 of new purchase, budget, so.
And we figured it would take a while for us to get there, and it's probably gonna be, up in the next year before we do that full 10 officers that we were gonna add.
Right, and that's why I said we budgeted the whole amount. We're not there because of some loss of personnel, and we're netting 2 to 3 according to our human resource right now. So my point is, we should have some margin there.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor of buying these cars, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, change IT, Nick, come on up.
Nick Jones, IT Director. We're just wanted to change the name from IT Supervisor to an IT Tech 3. We're going to change a few words in the job description to include networking experience. So if we were to get somebody, we have an opening now that we're going to put out in the paper and everything in the next day or two for a job opening. If we were to get somebody with the right qualifications, they could come in as a Tech 3, and if not, then we will either bring them in as a Tech 1 or Tech 2, depending on where they're at in their experience and trainings.
But you certainly hope to get a Tech 3.
We're hoping for a Tech 3.
I got a question, Corey, does this fall within CBIZ Tech 3?
Which is a name change. There's only
Instead of supervisor, it just goes to Tech 3.
Okay, as that bottom line says, there's no change in the pay levels for these grades, it's just a name change. Any, okay, motion?
I'll make that motion. Change the IT supervisor position to IT Tech 3.
Second.
Any questions?
What are the qualifications to make $26 an hour?
So, some of the duties and responsibilities are where they will also help with Tech 1 and 2 with daily operations. They'll have to have networking experience. Let's see here. They will assist me with helping with upgrades on servers, and we can make sure we make the right decision, work with the office holders for them to make sure we get the right equipment for them. They will be in charge of maintaining all the local area networks and tracking problems, see if there's any vulnerabilities in our networks and stuff. And there'll be a bunch of other smaller things that they'll have to help with. But basically, the big thing is networking. If somebody has networking experience, they won't come work for us for the lower pay. So if we can get somebody to come in at that has a lot of networking experience, that's gonna be a great asset to us in the IT department.
Any other questions, comments? Rich?
One question, Nick, are you in a position to train someone?
I can, I mean, I've got some networking experience. We've also paid for a training program through our, we got a 2-year plan right now to do some training, online training, so it can be done.
Thank you.
Will you be looking at their experience and making that determination at what level of experience they will?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look at it and see what kind of certificates they have. The big thing in the.
But I mean, that's your call saying, okay, they fit in 1, 2, or 3 category?
Yeah, I mean, I'll work with Corey too on it, but as for, the big thing is certificates. If they have a lot of networking certificates and they've got experience working for other companies in their networking department, that would be the decision.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All in favor of this name change, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, request to bid. Brian can't be here today, but I have an announcement coming up of a new office moving out to the Weber Road facility. And we want to change the air conditioning system in the old juvenile detention center area, their office area. That's being divided into 2 spaces now. And we need separate heating, cooling systems and controls for each office area. So we want to bid this out and get that updated. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to bid the new HVAC system for suites at the Weber Road facility.
Second?
I'll second that.
Question? Yeah, Bob?
Where the money coming from to pay for this?
This was budgeted, I think, wasn't it? Didn't Brian budget it?
Yeah.
This was
Out of
budgeted.
maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Is this a CMAR project, or is it?
Is it what?
Is this a CMAR contract?
Uh,
through Brockville?
They were involved in it, yes. They were involved
so
in
we
it.
have to go through, let's see, yeah, it's not a design building. So,
What I'm saying is who's soliciting the bids for it? Are we, or is like Brock Miller as our construction manager at risk?
Brock Miller will be.
Okay, has an engineer been selected for this project to prepare the specs?
Yeah, I have the papers on it here. I mean, it was a delegated, there was 4 involved in looking at the system out there, the HVAC system. And Colin had called them in, and actually Crystal was doing the work. And I think I showed you the papers on it. So it was, SSC was involved in just delegating what we need to do so it would perform and wouldn't cost us. We wasn't gonna put a system in that did not work, so we just, a delegated bunch looked it over, and then Crystal drew the plans up, their engineering company stamped it.
So unfortunately, the statute says we have to retain our own engineer if it's a CMAR project. That cannot be the same as the CMAR's engineer or their subs. So that's why I was asking. Because we're kind of putting the cart before the horse. We would have to have an engineer prepare specs and then bid.
I don't have a CMAR contract for this with Brock Miller either, so. I don't have
you don't
a
have a
contract for.
CMAR with
Not for this project, no. I don't have a contract with Brockmill for this project or an engineer for this project.
project specific, you don't have that.
Correct.
Okay, we can do that. So are you saying we shouldn't approve this now? What are you saying?
If it's
Approving it without a contract.
And if it's a CMAR, doesn't Brockmiller have to be the ones to do the request for bid, or can we
If
still?
they're soliciting it.
So did they do the engineering for free on this?
Dan?
Do what,
Did we do they do the engineering for free for this, or is that something?
Well, what happened, that it was drawn up what was supposed, what they come up with the best system that we could do, and actually
Time to take the bills.
the Crystal took the lead on it, and then their engineer stamped the drawings, and I had them right here, but they're telling me that I can't use these, because,
Did they charge you for that, is my question.
yes, I think Rockmiller got the bill on it. Rockmiller got the bill, which they're paying the bill,
Then we'll be billed for it.
Yeah.
Through Brockmiller.
yeah.
And statute says we can't do that. Statute says we have to have our own engineer.
Bob?
I'm pretty easy to confuse on this, but it sounds to me like both Amber and Bridget were saying that we need some contract with Brockmiller on this that we don't have.
Correct.
That's one issue. The second is we also have to select an engineer.
Our
Alright.
engineer has to look over everything that's being done by the
Who
CMAR.
is our engineer?
That's our question.
Okay, but you're,
I thought it was Brockmiller.
the engineers
No,
are
that's
so,
that's the construction manager at risk.
engineers are so specific, so if you want one for air conditioning, it's different than one for roads.
Correct. Which is why you have to select one based on qualifications, just like any other CMAR project we've had.
This isn't anything new, you've done it before, you just need to do it on this.
Just like we've done it with SSC, we've done it with
So is this
SDN,
because
Colbert.
on the CMAR projects when they first started under the ARPA, they had a list of what they had on each one?
But it has nothing to do with ARPA. The CMAR is completely separate from ARPA. This just happens to be a CMAR project that is just not being covered by ARPA funds. But we still have to abide by the CMAR statutes.
Okay, and CMAR is the construction manager at risk, so it's a person we use to manage construction projects. And the ARPA, of course, is the federal funding, just to get the acronyms lined up. there.
Is the CMAR allowed to act under the county since we have made them Brockmiller CMAR? Can they speak for the county?
As our CMAR, yes. Statute does.
So can he can call the engineer in or the individuals in for us?
No,
Or do we
statute
have
says
that?
specifically, 67.5050, number 3. Before or concurrently with selecting a construction manager at risk, the political subdivision shall select or designate an engineer or architect who shall prepare the construction documents for the project and who shall comply with the state laws as applicable. The engineer or architect is not a full-time employee of the political subdivision. The political subdivision shall select the engineer or architect on the basis of demonstrated competency qualifications. The political subdivision engineer or architect for a project may not serve alone or in combination with another as the construction manager at risk.
Is that under 67.50?
67.5050, number 3.
You guys want to table this or?
We'll table it, but we do have a time situation there. We have an office wanting to move in there. So they can operate with existing system. It would just be more convenient if we had that all done before they moved.
I don't have the problem, I'm just saying if you want to put it off, we can even have a special meeting.
Well, they can operate the way it is. It'd be kind of walking on top of each other out there, but they can do it.
So we RFQ.
Let's table this one.
engineer. Right. Then
Which
we,
we've got qualifications on file, you just have to
we
write
do,
in and pick one.
yeah.
And then
So
negotiate a
we'll
contract.
pick one, and then they can, then next week we can send this out to. It is what you're saying.
After the engineer prepares the documents.
Gotcha.
Bob, your hands cocked and ready to go.
Yeah, I guess what I'm really trying to say or trying to figure out is that we need to select an engineer as the next process. And then we shouldn't go forward until we select an engineer. And do we have currently qualifications for it? And so we can use those qualifications and make a selection from there.
Mhm.
We could do that the next meeting,
Yes.
You can do that after this meeting. Yeah.
after this meeting. Okay.
If you would like to schedule a meeting for tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, and you've already got the engineering spec, because we've requested those for the year, you can select an engineer and then vote on that so we can get this process rolling. And it may be one that you're very familiar with or something.
I know the two of us will be gone tomorrow, be in Cape at a meeting down there, just, you'll plan on going.
And you're out of town any week, can you two make it on Thursday? We could post the meeting on Thursday, and
Special meeting.
a special meeting.
Well, we've got everything we need right here.
Well, but you have to select,
Have to select,
you know, so
okay.
why don't we,
So-
why don't we just hold off where we're at now, and we still got 24 hours to call the meeting for Thursday, and then we'll discuss that,
Okay, let's set that up for Thursday.
Those could possibly be selected off MoDOT's on-call list too,
Sure.
under the structure
Yeah.
category. There's 6 categories on the on-call services. So under the structures, you guys could select one.
Okay. All right, so that one's tabled. All right? Moving along.
All right.
This is the amended item. And Nick, you want to talk about this, burn ban? Nick,
Sure.
He's also our emergency management guy, and go ahead.
This was kind of, sounds like a
So, as we all know, it's very dry outside, it's very hot. We're looking at doing a burn ban. It's not gonna be enacted all the time, just under certain conditions of severe drought. And
Who declares these conditions?
the fire marshal's office will, they actually the ones that, they sent out an email this morning saying that they're getting a lot of, questions and requests about fire bans, when they should, when they shouldn't. So what ends up happening, if we decide that we're gonna go on a burn ban, we will contact the state fire marshals and we'll say, hey, we're thinking about going on a burn ban, what do you think? And they'll say, we agree with it, you're good. And we'll post it, they'll post it, everybody will know about it. If they say they're not good, I don't know for sure if you guys can go ahead and enact it without their permission. But that would be something we have to actually look into for sure. But I mean, I can tell you that right now, if we go off the U.S. Drought Monitor, we are not in a burn ban. We would not meet the qualifications today under the severe drought, or the U.S. Drought Monitoring System.
You mean it's not dangerous now to burn outside?
It's dangerous, but it's not, it wouldn't meet the U.S. Drought Monitoring criteria for the fire marshal's office. You're not severe enough.
So are you here authorizing, are you wanting to authorize the ability to do this, or authorize a ban? Is it
The ability.
The ability.
This is the ordinance, passing the ordinance. So how would the public know that we are under a burn ban?
So if we were under a burn ban, we would post it on, Emergency Management has a Facebook page, we post it on our website, we'd let all the newspapers know, radio stations know. We'd also let dispatch know, so if you're going to burn in the county or anywhere, you're supposed to call dispatch and let them know, hey, we had a controlled burn. And at that point in time, if we are under a burn ban, they will say, hey, just so you know, we're under a burn ban, we're not supposed to be burning today, we advise you not to burn. Now, if the person goes up and burns anyway, I mean, I don't know how else you can tell them, you know, other than going door to door, but I mean, that's the way that I see us letting the public know that we are in a burn ban.
So as emergency management, you would be the one that would be notified of the danger, or what word am I looking for?
So, as it would work right now, we've got a fire chief in the northern part of the county and a fire chief in the southern part of the county. We would get together and we would decide.
The three of you
The
get
three of
together.
us, yeah, we would get together and say, we don't need to be burning today. And it's not gonna be, there will be a time limit, you know, it's not like we're gonna wake up today and say, hey, we're in a burn ban, and it doesn't sneak up on us. We will put a time, you know, for the next week, we're in a burn ban. Now, if we get rain during that week and we think we can burn again, the same way we notified everybody, we'll let everybody know the same way that, you know, the burn ban is gone. If we have to extend it, it'd be the same thing.
I think we could get with these cities, a lot of these cities are putting up these boards that have informational boards and that are welcome to the town. And I know Farmington's got a big one, Delo's got one, Von Terra. Something we can get with those guys to say, hey, burn ban starting as of, and then until.
Yeah, that would be a way we could do it, you know, get it on the board.
I would love, I've been trying to get a scrolling sign out here somewhere. But the city won't let us do it because we're in the historic region of the town. So they won't let me do that.
Well, also, I think the state fire marshals, they meet every Thursday. I was reading on, they meet every Thursday and consider the areas that are in drought. And I think the north end of our county is in severe drought.
We're not there yet, we're close. We're not severe yet, but we are very close. I think if we wait a little bit longer, it would probably happen, I think.
Well, and then we could, like, say, if we do happen to get authority and initiate it, say we initiate it and then it rains tomorrow, I mean, it would be reduced after the rain.
Possible, it depends on how much rain we're in. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be I think this is a great idea to get something enacted for sure. We're gonna have some growing pains, it's gonna be some learning curves, but I think, in the end, I think it's a very good idea.
So what we're talking about now is enacting an ordinance for it, not necessarily declaring now to be a burn ban time. So this is for the ordinance passage. Okay, and I guess you're gonna help us write that?
Sure.
Okay. Jay?
What's the penalty involved if I burn somebody's house down because I didn't pay attention to the burn ban?
Well, with Dan's part, it's first class A misdemeanor. With your neighbor, it might be something more serious.
So, they didn't burn the house down, and you just went ahead and burned, is there a fine or some sort of punishment?
Class A misdemeanor.
Now, this one says Class A misdemeanor. Now, I wondered if, didn't they say it could be up to a Class A, so if you decided to down that a little bit, right, Dan, is that?
Yeah, if you do the county does its own ordinance, then you can put a penalty phase it into that, whatever you like that.
You're just saying Class A right off the bat. I looked at Harold's
He
like.
would probably be coming and pick you up in that new police car with the radio.
And then anytime could they change it to a
Yeah,
felony?
and I may get in the car following and put the newspaper.
How
Bob?
close do you live to reach?
I mean, we're approaching the 4th of July here, just in a short period of time. And this apparently bans certain fireworks.
Where it lands and you can't control it. That's,
Pardon?
the missiles and the skyrockets land where you can't control it. So that's why,
Yeah.
that's in the wording from the state's
I
statute.
read up there in the fine print that it says it will not ban the explosions of any other consumer fireworks.
Yeah.
Firecrackers.
Yeah, firecrackers and
Okay, so
I
would
guess.
that be like bottle rockets or?
No, that's
That'd be your
skyrockets.
missiles and skyrockets.
That's something that lands and you can't control where it lands. Lands over in the neighbor's hayfield.
Bottle rockets would be banned.
You know, snakes.
If it goes up in the air, it's banned.
If they put this into effect, this is not just, it's just authorizing the ability to do it, but this is not putting it in effect. But you were talking about what else? Well, if there was somebody cited that I assume, like the guy on Hillsborough Road a couple weeks ago that lit it up and burnt down a building and 2 cars and a utility line, that probably would, the insurance would help determine fault if he's cited for doing something that was against it. So I would assume that they would want to come after him for.
But that would be civil.
That would be civil, but he said what other penalties, if you're written up for misdemeanor for doing it, you're playing a pen.
Rich?
I don't think you really wish to minimize what this can cause. I know we're having a little fun here. Surrounding counties have indeed enacted burn bans. I went out to burn a burn pile last night and it was so damn windy, I wasn't gonna touch it.
Yeah.
Because there's a danger out there. In addition, fat chance of trying to get fireworks banned for the weekend. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important that you do enact a ban right now, because we may not be severe, but we are extreme at this point. So why fiddle fart around, enact a ban, deal with it as necessary, and be done with it.
I agree.
One thing, they don't have an ordinance yet. County doesn't have it.
Well, so we gotta spool us up and make it happen.
Yeah.
Gentlemen.
This is the start of that. Okay, any other questions?
I can tell you the city of Farmington bans fireworks in the city limits,
All the time?
period.
I think Park Hills, and they enact
That
something
does not
yesterday,
mean they
just
don't
on a
get shot
certain
off.
day. I mean, you can't, you can shoot them off at a certain time on the 4th, but I'm wanting to say they enacted something yesterday.
Park Hills and the other cities have a window of opportunity, it's like 10 days.
Mhm.
Farmington has no fireworks at all, period,
Forever. I mean,
except when enacted by the city for certain events. Right,
Yeah.
former mayor?
That's
And
correct.
I agree with like Rich. I mean, I know we're looking at 4th of July, but this is a little bit beyond that. We're so dry right now.
We've actually
We're
seen a
looking
couple
at a
fires
ban
with our
in
graders
county.
on the road.
Yeah.
If you're a farmer out there growing crops, you know how bad it is right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I suggest that you enact this, and if you decide, in wisdom, we could put that on the agenda for Thursday, if you decide that you want to go ahead and enact that for the future, or next week.
But you're saying allow the
Authorize
ordinance to be
the
passed
ordinance,
now.
and then you can decide
Then-
Thursday or next Tuesday.
And then hopefully in that 2
Or
days, we
next
can
Monday.
have it written up to
Yeah.
pass.
That's correct. He would have to get writing it, and then you'd have to authorize it on Thursday or next Monday, since that's gonna be the meeting is Monday, not.
Okay,
You can't act on it without having an ordinance, that's it.
Well, the ordinance can be based simply on state statute.
We have that here. And the statute says that it's all right to sell these items, you just can't use them at certain times. It doesn't limit the sale of them.
All right.
It's in the statute. Bob?
But even if we have an ordinance, the state fire marshal has to approve the ban.
They don't have to approve the ban. It's better to have them on your side though, you know? You gotta report your bans to them.
Okay.
You know, if we go into a fire ban. And back on the question about, you know, you set your neighbor's house and stuff on fire by burning off the field, the fire marshals can come out and they can actually write certain tickets or citations on that, on the state level.
I know in our neighborhood, it's so dry that the grass crunches when you walk on it. So it's not
It
a good
says
idea.
upon a determination by the state fire marshal that a burn ban order is appropriate. So I think that answers your question.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Carol?
On ordinances adopted by the county, is there a process, you know, some city things have so many readings and so much time, is
No,
it?
it's covered by state statute.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor of enacting?
We don't have a motion yet.
I thought I did. Okay, motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that St. Francis County approve the enactment, would approve a burn ban in the county when requested by the commission.
Second?
Second that.
Authorizing a burn.
Authorizing a burn ban.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I think you need to be sure you have ordinance in there, because it's
Yeah,
not just ban.
yeah, that'll be on the Thursday meeting, we'll try to get that enacted.
His motion is that you make an ordinance, not that you make a ban.
Will approve an ordinance of a burn ban
Yes.
in St. Francis County.
Okay. So we are now
Authorize an ordinance.
to be continued. Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Dick. Next meeting, okay, first announcements will be closed on Tuesday, the 4th of July. And then our next meeting will be Monday, the day before, because that is the start of the new quarter, and by law, we have to meet on the first Monday of the month of the start of the new quarter. So that will be Monday, July 3rd. And so agenda items must be in on Friday because of that earlier schedule. So, everybody welcome, glad to have you here. And, here's the announcement of that meeting. That'd be, like I said, it'd be on Monday the 3rd. Board of Equalization meetings, Kevin, you wanna talk about that?
Yeah, we start that next week, but right now, they've got until Friday to call us. Our assessor said he sent out hundreds of new assessments, and we've only had one response, so I don't know what that says, if I can't imagine sending out hundreds and nobody objecting unless there was much change. So I don't know what the changes are, he's not here, but we've had one response, so we've got one meeting set up right now.
When will be notified of the schedule of that one meeting?
After Friday, because that's their last time, then they request a meeting, but currently that meeting is set up for the, 11th? 11th.
Well, it's not on the third, it'd be on the 11th.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to meet on Monday.
We have to meet on Monday, and Tuesday we have a holiday, so therefore, we have them scheduled on Tuesdays the rest of the month. We set the times, and we just have not had the calls. I don't know what reason no one's responded, but I would suspect nobody's,
That unhappy.
that unhappy, which is interesting, because usually if you tell that many people anything, somebody's gonna be unhappy.
Well, the first stage of this is they visit with Eric, and he worked
Right,
with.
maybe he's
Maybe he
solving
made-
all their problems before he gets to us, so right now you have one meeting scheduled. put it
He's
that
had
way.
a couple, I do know enough, but I don't know for that.
Okay.
So maybe maybe they're all getting satisfied.
Okay. Other business correspondence. Do we have any public comments? Departmental reports.
Got one. With the upcoming heat wave we got coming in this week, we are working on getting cooling shelters lined up, and we'll post them again on Facebook and on the website where they'll be at if anybody needs our cooling shelter.
Who's we, Nick? Who's working on that?
Me and my assistant Chuck. He's over at dispatch right now. He's calling everybody, making sure we got a running list that we usually use, and we're just making sure that everybody's on the list is still good to use. So we should have something.
So some of the churches and different.
Yeah,
people
churches
we
and
call it.
firehouses and public buildings, stuff like that. So.
All right. Any other public, departmental reports? Well, I said earlier that we would announce, child support offices are going to move to Suite 103 at the Weber Road facility. This will give them more space over in the courthouse for additional lawyers, that they're kind of packed together. And this was a common or a reasonable way to divide that office up. The child support doesn't work so much directly with the prosecutors. So this was a common sense way of doing that and saving some space. So,
How many people do they have?
this is gonna be about 3 offices, 3 desks out there. So it worked out pretty well for the small end. The 103 is much smaller than 101. So it's gonna be working out pretty well for that. And as I understand it, they're very pleased. The child support people are very thrilled about this. At least the ladies are. The one man attorney wasn't too happy, I think, but anyway, so that's another issue, but the ladies are very pleased with it. So they've been out there visiting 2 or 3 times and making plans. So that's just an announcement I want to talk about. Any other departmental reports?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.